But anyway, let's get started with the two-step process. So in the first step, let's go through the settings because we want to nail the ambient exposure behind. Our subject should be relatively underexposed. So I'm using the Nikon 85mm f1.8 lens, the same lens that we used in the last exercise. So I want to shoot this shot at f1.8 because I really want a shallow depth of field and really want to get a nice smooth bokeh there. So we're going to stick to f1.8. That is sorted out. My ISO is at the base ISO, which is ISO 100. So that is done. Now we're going to take our first shot at a shutter speed which we've been using as our sync speed, which is going to be 1/200. So let's take the first shot at these settings: 1/200 shutter speed, the sync speed, f1.8 because we want to blur the background, and ISO 100 of course because we want the cleanest image. Right now, for the first shot, my flash is off, so I've just switched off the transmitter. So let's take this shot and let's see how this comes. All right, so as you can see here, this first shot, literally almost everything, including the subject and the background, is being lit by the ambient light. And why is that happening? By now you must have guessed, because the main issue here is that we want that nice shallow depth of field. So we're shooting at f1.8. That is letting in a lot of light in this lens. So what is the way to solve that? Well, one of the ways is that I can increase the f-stop number, but then we lose the shallow depth of field. The second way is that we can put an ND filter right now. We've also seen that. But as you already learned before in the high-speed sync section, the best way to do this is to simply up your shutter speed, because remember, we are using a flash and a camera in which high-speed sync is compatible. So the next shot, let me just cut down some light. I'm going to try the next shot at 1/400 and let's see what the background comes like. All right, so if you see this shot, we are slightly getting closer to something that we wanted. Now I'm just going to I want things to be slightly darker behind. I really want this shot to be very dramatic. So what we're going to do is just going to slightly make our shutter speed faster and go to 1/500, take this shot again, and then let's see. All right, so this shot is exactly what we wanted, that the ambient light falling on our subject is very less. We're getting a nice dramatic background behind. Now we just are left with one task, which is we're going to switch on this flash. So I'm just going to switch this on. Right now this is set to half power. So let's see, remember when you use high speed sync, the faster the shutter speed you use, remember we lose a bit of flash output. So, and plus we have a modifier on top of it, a thick modifier. So I'm not sure whether this shot is going to be enough to light our subject with the flash exposure. There's only one way to find out, that we're actually taking the shot at half power. Let's do this. All right, I think to my eye this looks really nice, but let's say that we wanted even the exposure to be slightly more, just for experimental purpose. Then what are we going to do? We're just going to increase the flash output power. I'm going to go from half all the way to 1. So let me just do that right from the transmitter itself. And now my flash is at full power. So let's take the shot. All right, this time, as you can see in this image, I think this is slightly overexposed on the subject. So I think half was giving us a good result. So I'm just going to switch back over to half. All right, so you saw that we got some good shots with the settings that we used. But now let's say that we want to really increase the drama in this shot. So what I mean by that is we want to increase the contrast between the subject and the background. So I want to darken the background and I want to just slightly raise the flash exposure on my subject. So again, quiz time for you. How are you going to do that? We want to darken the background, which is the only setting that out of all these which is going to impact the ambient light. But if you answered shutter speed, that's correct. So right now, for the previous shot, the shutter speed we were using was around 1/500, 1/640. This time I'm going to really go to the extreme. I'm going to take it to 1/1000. Remember, we are on high speed sync, so we can do that. But at the same time, I will obviously have to raise the exposure of the flash. So what I've done is that I've raised the exposure of the flash all the way to the full power this time. So we're not on half anymore because we are going up on the shutter speed. So remember, because of high speed sync, we do lose some output. And of course, we want to also increase the contrast anyway. So flash power has gone up and the shutter speed has become faster. That's the only change from the last shot. And let's take this really dramatic looking shot. All right, we got a fantastic dramatic looking shot. Let's see this. Let's take one more shot. Fantastic. We've got one more shot which looks really good. This was like more like a full body shot. Let's just take one more.
I hope that you like this video. This video is from my off-camera Flash for Beginners course, which has around 4 hours of video content. This course is available via Udemy, as you can see in front of you. And on Udemy, this has got the highest rated tag, which is only given to the best courses on Udemy. So if you like the video, then do check out this course, because this course will help you really master off-camera Flash in its entirety. So I hope to see you inside the course.